We are live at Chrysler Center after a Wolverines season opening victory. I'm Brian Boesch. We're going to mix it up a little bit this year, have some fun with some post-game streams here of, in essence, our Defend the Block podcast. A little bit different, some fun interactive opportunities for you to comment, share, like, all that good stuff, but also we'll have some interviews. Mike Boynton Jr. getting set to join us here momentarily. We'll play some clips from some of the radio interviews we had for you. Also a video interview with Trey McKenney coming up as well after the Wolverines just dismantle this Oakland team that picked to finish second in the Horizon League. A lot of high expectations from a Horizon League standpoint for Oakland, but Michigan just came in and had their way in a wire-to-wire victory. It was tied for the fifth most points in Michigan basketball history, 7 away from a Yost Fieldhouse win for Michigan over Purdue back in the 60s. And also Michigan tying a program record with 19 threes. So much to like from this one as Michigan kicks off a highly anticipated season in style. I caught up with Dusty May after the game. Here's what he said was what impressed him most about the performance.
How connected we were as a group. I don't want to say on either side of the ball, but just the guys were really about each other. They were excited for each other's success. I don't think there was one moment where any of our players looked like they were going to stray from the group and try to hunt numbers or anything that goes with their own individual success. And then the unselfishness. I think we have the best passing team in the country, 29 assists. There's some things we have to clean up as far as working to get open and cutting better. But as a whole, we have a lot of really good passers who also happen to be very unselfish. So usually that's a recipe for good team chemistry and good vibes in the locker room.
Yeah, Michigan coming up in this ball game with 29 assists, and 12 of them, of course, belonging to to Elliot Kadau. It's pretty crazy. You score 121 points, but I do believe that one of the biggest stories from this game was the performance of Kadau. 5 points, 12 assists. And I mean, what he's able to do. Dusty May talked about it during the offseason, believing that he can be one of the most dynamic players in college basketball. And also the aspect of the fact that he doesn't really hunt shots. He just finds ways to impact winning with passing. And of all, hey, the assists are great, 29 of them, but Michigan committed just 8 turnovers in this ball game. Really impressive stuff. Considering Michigan had 20 turnovers and then 22 turnovers in the exhibition. Now, Michigan playing a little bit shorthanded from the standpoint of their big men with Yaxel Lendeborg. He kind of hurt his hand. It's not expected to be anything crazy long-term or anything. You saw the wrap if you watched the game on FS1 here tonight, but something that he's had to contend with a little bit in his career and talking with him post-game. But I mean, shoot, he was playing basically one-handed, 1.5-handed, 4 of 4 shooting, 12 points, 4 boards, 3 assists, including that one cross-court pass, which was magnificent. But the ability of the bigs, Morez Johnson Jr. and Adai Mara, to be able to kind of coalesce and have the type of big performances. Morez with the big scoring in the first half, tying a career high with 20 points before halftime. And then how about 3 straight possessions? Mara with blocks. He had 5 in the ball game. Here was Dusty May on my post-game radio conversation about those bigs, Mara and Johnson.
Well, they don't have a lot of reps together because of the timing of their injuries and illnesses and whatnot. But, once we settle into the game, we're typically playing with one of them out there at all times because we just look so different when one of them isn't there. So they don't have to play together that much. We would like for them to both get more minutes than they had tonight. But I thought they both played really well on the offensive end. Defensively, like I said earlier today when we talked about it at pregame, we felt like they were going to try to drive our centers with their bigs, and they did that, and they were very successful doing it. Respect Coach Campy. They, typically you want to come in here and teams would hold the ball, and he's more worried about his team and winning their league. So they kept running, which they made the game have really great flow.
Yeah, it was up and down. Last year, Oakland was a very slow tempo team, drastically changed in this game. And I think the expectation from Greg Campy and company is that they will get a little bit quicker with their pace, maybe a lot quicker with some of the talent that they have. More on Elliot Kadau. My 2 player interviews in the locker room for radio were Nimari Burnett and how about Charlie May, which it was cool hearing Dusty May talk about his son coming up with a big 3 late. Here are both Nimari Burnett and Charlie May on Elliot Kadau.
Man, he set the tempo. I feel like he had like 10 assists in the first 5 minutes almost. Just playing with pace, getting the ball out, and everybody just playing off him, whether it's open threes or open layups and dunks. He sets our offensive tempo and our pace in the way that we love to play.
That dude has eyes on the back of his head. I mean, I don't know if I've ever seen anything like it. It's ridiculous. He sees everything. It's unbelievable.
12 assists, 0 turnovers for Kadau, pacing a 29 assist, 8 turnover performance from Michigan. And you go down the box score, Kadau, of the 8-man rotation Michigan used, LJ Kaysen battling a bit of a shoulder issue, did not go. Dusty May told me afterward, an emergency situation for LJ from a playing in this game scenario. But so he'll be in the rotation. He's going to play, and I think play a good amount for Michigan this season. But outside of Kadau, no Wolverine in that core 8 for Michigan had fewer than 11 points. Roddy Gale Jr. at that marker. But the man who was second in scoring, Trey McKenney, what an effort from him. He admitted to me in pregame, yeah, it was a little bit unique playing in that a setting where he had been so used to coming to games and watching, being a Michigan fan. It helped him that Michigan played that exhibition about 2.5 weeks ago against Cincinnati. It was huge for him to kind of get that out of the way. And boy, did he play well. 21 points. Here was my conversation with him after the ball game.
Second chance at Chrysler, much better than the first for you. What was it like, and what was working for you?
I think the exhibitions really helped me and helped me watch some film and see what I needed to do better and let the game come to me a little bit more. So I think that helped me get in rhythm.
Can you describe Elliot Kadau as a passer, what makes him so special, and how he helps everybody else?
He's very tricky and he's quick. So, just the amount of different ways that he can get everybody involved. And, he's a pest on defense as well. So, just a great player. I'm happy to play with him.
How does Morez and Adai make life easier for everybody else with their size and what they bring to the table?
Yeah, that 4-5 tandem that we started at today, it was kind of crazy. That's like Twin Towers. It's just really good to have those talented players on your team, and you're just happy they're on your side.
Assess the defensive performance here tonight. What do you guys think you did well and some areas to improve?
Just one-on-one defense, I think we could have improved a little bit more, but I think our communication, it got better in the second half, and we closed it out. So I was happy with how we came out, but definitely.
Was this everything you expected Chrysler to be in a game that counted after all the times you've watched Michigan games in the past?
It was when I was on the bench during the first half. I looked up and there was people, in the stands all the way up. So I'm just happy to see that as a Michigan fan. But I was just happy to be out there.
Well, congrats, Trey. Appreciate the time.
Thank you.
Really cool with Trey McKenney, a young man who I thought was a really interesting story Dusty May shared. I forget exactly when it was, but he had shared some practice video from the summer with a coaching friend in the industry, just kind of swapping notes, stories, all of that. And Dusty May said that the coach he sent the film to asked about Trey McKenney, asked about number 1 for Michigan, and the friend said, yeah, I thought he'd be some 4th or 5th year grad student who's been in college for a long time. McKenney has slimmed down. He has had a really, really good practice. The 2 exhibitions, I thought maybe more than anybody else during the, I think it belied the effort that Trey McKenney had in the offseason, what he brought to the table, just how effective, efficient, strong he was in so many ways, practicing over the course of the season and getting ready for the season. Really impressive stuff here as the Wolverines get it done by a count of 121-78. We'll be joined by assistant head coach Mike Boynton Jr. here momentarily. I know he's in the lobby, but if he can hear me, I can't see the video, so I might have to see if he can refresh and come back. But yeah, McKenney able to do what he did in this ball game. And it's interesting, too, the dynamic of having to play in a game where some guys who were such key cogs to what Michigan accomplished in that Big Ten tournament championship run, that they were able to watch the banner, to celebrate briefly, and then come right back out and deliver the way that they did. Roddy Gale Jr. with 11 points. He was 5 of 7 shooting, shot that 3-pointer with confidence, 1 of 3. Hey, 1 of 3 with Roddy Gale. You'll take that early on. You want more. You'd love to see him get closer to 40%. But obviously last year, the 23%, really impressive to see him make a 3 in this ball game. Namari Burnett, he cramped up a little bit late in that ball game against St. John's. Big reason why he did not play down the stretch for Michigan against the Johnnies, but he hits 4 threes. We heard from him and what Elliot Kadau brought to the table for Michigan to set him up. And how about the Axel Lendeborg? I mean, he was basically playing with one arm, comes through, gets the job done in many ways. 22 minutes of action. Really impressive stuff all around. And yeah, I mean, it's tough not to get excited about where this stands, right? And Blue Wolverine weighing in, just what a game. It was an outstanding performance. There's no question about it, as Michigan gets it done here, 121-78. And now we do have assistant coach, a big key part of the scout in this one, Mike Boynton Jr. stopping by. Coach, appreciate you joining us here late on a Monday night. What impressed you most from what you saw from your team here tonight?
I would start with just our unselfishness throughout the game. Oftentimes what happens is you get into a game like that and you can start seeing guys stat chase, if you will. I feel like our guys continue to move the ball and try to make the right play from the opening tip to the final buzzer. Obviously, one of the coolest things that happened tonight was Coach May's son, Charlie May, scoring his first collegiate basket. And obviously, as a dad, it's a moment that I can have a great appreciation for. Having an opportunity to see him do this with his child. It's cool. His other son is within our program as well. And his oldest son, Jack, actually is in basketball, but working for the Miami Heat. So I'm sure that whole family celebrating tonight, having a lot of fun. But I was just really, really pleased with the way our guys shared the basketball. Obviously, when you have a point guard who sets the tone the way Elliot Kadau does, it almost becomes contagious. And then you have what amounts to a really, really good All-American level player like Axel Lendeborg, who, obviously led the charge. He wasn't stat chasing. This could be a game where he says, I need to get my average up, pad my stats so that, later on I can put back to this. But no, he was moving the ball. He obviously playing without 100% of his hand. And so it was just really, really cool to see our guys share the ball the way we did tonight.
And against that zone defense, Coach, I mean, last year, Oakland allowed the 10th fewest assists in the country. Now, different. They only have 2 returning rotation players, so it obviously is a different team. But, I mean, Coach Campy always gets his guys going. For this team to do that against the zone defense and have a 29-8 assist-to-turnover ratio. I know Elliott led the way, but it seemed like it was the totality of the team, even, in that final 6-7 minutes when it was the deep reserves out there.
Sure. I mean, I thought Trey McKenney made some really, really nice passes against the zone. Obviously, Adai Mara can sometimes look like he's a cheat code out there because you can pretty much throw him the ball anywhere on the floor, and his vision, his size, obviously, but just also, I mean, he's got great touch on his passes. He can fit the ball into different pockets in a way that many people can't. So we have a really unselfish group, and we have a bunch of guys who get a lot of gratification out of seeing their teammates do well. And obviously, we had a lot of guys have good nights tonight.
Yeah, you said to Terry Mills at halftime that this team played with a lot of joy. Is it easier when you guys play the style, the up and down tempo, and having a dance partner in that with Oakland? Dusty said in postgame with me on radio that, in a lot of these games, you might have a team try to kind of muck it up a little bit, low possession game. But because Oakland wants to do this come Horizon League play, it really allowed for, I think, a unique setup with a lot of scoring and that ability to play with the joy that this team seems to want to play with by playing fast and passing the ball as much as they do. Yeah,
we see it in practice pretty consistently. Our guys really enjoy each other. pretty well-connected group, guys who are like-minded in their goals that they've set for not only themselves but for our team this year. And I think you saw some of that on display tonight. I think there's also a level of appreciation that they're all playing with other unselfish players. And it only takes one, maybe two guys to start to break that off. And then that becomes kind of the thing that everybody's trying to do. But, again, Elliot Kadau leading the charge, Kadau, and Yaxel Lindenberg, three guys who transferred in here who were highly touted transfers. I mean, you think of those guys, and we see it around the country. You just get a bunch of guys who are used to scoring a bunch of points, taking a bunch of shots, and it doesn't always work out. And we recruited probably three of, for sure, in terms of passing, most unselfish guys. And then when you talk about Morez Johnson, just a junkyard dog, a guy who does all the dirty work. I mean, he comes up with balls that he has no reason coming up with just because he has such a relentless approach to it. And I think he brings a level of toughness that we certainly will need down the road.
How much of the early stages of the season will be about just seeing how some of these bigs, Adai, Morez, Yax, can play together? Because Mara missed some time in the offseason. Morez missed, I think, more time. He was out for 5-6 weeks, and he hasn't really been that deep into practice yet. But does it still feel like there is some untapped knowledge to learn? I thought Dusty said it best with the word curiosity about the team, and in particular with those bigs.
Yeah, we're definitely all curious. Very curious about how the combinations are going to be adapted to by other teams. You're going to find it very rare that we find someone who's just going to physically match up with us. And so will they try to play a 1-3-1 or some sort of junk defense, or will they run and jump more, try to speed us up and try to exploit some of our weaknesses that haven't been exploited yet? And so, we're all curious about what this team can become. We obviously know the expectations are great, and we haven't shied away from the fact that we want those expectations. We want people to come to Chrysler or come watch us on the road and expect to see Michigan play good basketball. And tonight was a great example of that.
Your defensive takeaways from a game: Oakland scores 78 in an up-tempo game. They shot 42%. How would you assess what you saw defensively against a similarly unique team in that they don't assist the ball very much? They don't do a lot of ball screens. What you think?
Yeah, I was just being perfectly honest. I was a little bit disappointed in our 3-point defense. I thought we gave them, they were very comfortable for much of the game at the 3-point line. And that was a point of emphasis for us. Now, Buru as a matchup as a 5 against a die, we thought would be a little bit of a tricky situation. He throws in 3 threes. He made 2 all of last season. He only took 6 threes all of last year. I thought Garrett had a good game. He had they got a good front line. And I think that front line will give a lot of teams in their conference some problems. But I was disappointed in our ability to just run them off the line and make them play from the 2-point line more. I did like the way we communicated, the way we got back in transition. We didn't give up a bunch of transition baskets. And I do know that just the human nature, when you're scoring a lot of points, it's harder at this stage of the season to stay focused on both ends. You get a big lead, and it's coming fairly easy on offense. But there's something that as we continue to go through the season and we face tougher competition, that we understand that we've got to maintain that disciplined focus throughout. We went about a 6-minute segment in the first half without them scoring at all. They were stuck on 10 for quite a bit. And then they scored 10 pretty quickly in about 2.5 minutes. And so we showed what we're capable of in spurts. And obviously, as a leader of our defense, I want to see us do that as consistently as possible. Because we're going to need it to be much more consistent as we move forward.
Yeah, it was a 5-minute, 24-second stretch there where Michigan went on that 20-0 run and really pulled away in this one. Mike Boynton Jr. with us here for a few more minutes. You mentioned the Charlie May shot. It's so interesting getting to know Dusty because he is so likable, but he is cerebral in like this very polite, friendly way. I remember asking him in the offseason, hey, what's your favorite memory from last year? And he said, I can't think about anything other than the final 9 minutes against Auburn. I asked him about Charlie May tonight, and the first thing he said was he liked his defense. So take me through that. He flashed the big smile over there. There was a little bit of dad that came out here tonight, but thoughts on how Dusty embraced that, and just now in year 2, getting to know him, working with him. How would you describe how Dusty leads and how cerebral he is?
Oh man, he's one of the most intelligent people, not just for basketball. Dusty knows a lot about a lot of things. He's very curious as a person innately. And obviously basketball is at the forefront of that curiosity. He's always studying the game at whatever level he can learn it from. And it was pretty cool to watch him and his relationship with Charlie over these last 2 years, and just seeing that opportunity show up tonight. I know it's something that their family will be able to reflect on. And I think that's one of the things that Dusty's able to do is in the moment, he takes things for what they are. But it's not lost on him that this will be something that'll be a pretty cool another way to remember the night that the banner went up, right? That Charlie May scored his first college basket. But I've loved being around him. He's been a tremendous help for me. Obviously we hadn't worked together until now, but we followed each other's careers. We've kind of been connected indirectly with one another for about the last 10 years or so. And again, I take a lot of pride in trying to do my part in helping him build this Michigan program to being a national contender that he deserves as a head coach because of what he's put into this business, going back to his days as a student manager for Coach Knight at Indiana and all the great coaches he's learned from. And he pours into everybody around him. He pours into our players. He pours into our staff. He pours into our managers. And a guy like that deserves to get some of that return, and he's certainly starting to benefit from it.
Before I let you go, you played Oakland while you were the head coach at Oklahoma State. Now you've seen Coach Campy and these Golden Grizzlies back-to-back years, last year in the exhibition at Little Caesars Arena. Just thoughts on Campy. He is a legend in this state, obviously, but also the value of finding ways to play these types of home games. Oakland beat Kentucky in the NCAA tournament last year or 2 years ago. That makes non-conference scheduling really challenging because teams don't want to necessarily play you as much because, Coach Campy's going to bring in one heck of a team most times. But the value of playing a game where they're an hour down the road, a coach that's done so much for the game, and to be able to allow Oakland to play at Chrysler, and hopefully we can see it more and more.
Yeah, I mean, I got a tremendous amount of respect. This is actually the 4th time we played Coach Campy, and actually we played him 3 times when I was at Oklahoma State. We played him twice at Stillwater, and I actually was brave or stupid enough, if you will, to take my team to the old arena in Rochester and play a game on the road there. And they had a tremendous environment then. We were fortunate to come out with a win. But I always like challenging myself against coaches that I know really can coach. I felt like those guys helped me grow as a head coach and learning the game and how to coach it better tactically. And so he's been doing it about as long as I've been alive, maybe longer, at one place, and has had tremendous success through all the twists and turns of college basketball, right? In that time, he's about as consistent of a thing as you can have in college basketball, right? And so, yeah, it's good for both schools, good for both alumni bases. I'm sure there's a ton of Michigan Wolverine alums in the Rochester area. And so to be able to maybe go to work tomorrow and, bump somebody in the law office in a coffee room or something and say, hey, go blue, that'll be cool. And, vice versa. There are a ton of people I'm sure that went to Oakland that live in the Ann Arbor, area. And so it's good for both teams, good for both programs, and good for the state to have teams competing against each other.
You told me pregame you have a tougher time sleeping the night after a game than the night before. You can be watching some late night hoops?
I am. I think there's a 10 o'clock game. UCLA just started. They may be at halftime with Eastern Washington. So I'm going to turn that on here, and then I'm going to rewatch every one of our defensive possessions and try to figure out how to get it better.
Yeah, Bruins up 15 on Eastern Washington mid-second half. If you want to join Coach Boynton on that, you can tune in. Coach, really appreciate you doing this late on a Monday, and good luck with the prep for Wake Forest. We'll talk soon.
Thanks a lot, Brian. Have a good night.
There is Mike Boynton Jr. here on the show. We'll wrap up here in a few minutes. Any questions, comments here as we conclude things on our first ever one of these streams. We're going to do some fun things with it over the course of the season, incorporate some alums over the course of the year. Already got a few who have locked into future episodes, but we're going to get some former Michigan players on here to react to home games, home wins for Michigan men's basketball. So the next one will be hopefully after that Middle Tennessee matchup coming up in a couple of weeks. But really excited about the enthusiasm, excitement. I thought the crowd in this game, getting 11,801 fans into Chrysler Center for a Monday night 8:30 season opener. Great job by the ticket staff, all that at Michigan. And hey, ultimately, it boils down to what has happened from the top down. And what I keep going back to on this team is the fact that, A, you can celebrate an absolutely incredible run last year for this program. But the difference between what Michigan accomplished last year, 27 wins, getting to the Sweet 16, winning a Big Ten tournament championship, there's a lot of banners that say Big Ten in Chrysler, but there's one that says national championship. And the work that needs to be done, the leveling up that needs to happen in order for Michigan to go from a Big Ten banner to accompanying 1989 with a championship that says 2026 in this situation, it requires a pretty significant step forward. Michigan had one of the greatest turnarounds ever from 24 to 25, but it might require a similar jump. And this was a really solid start to it. Michigan, wire to wire, 7 points away from its most highest scoring performance of all time. Michigan wins it over Oakland. Great to see Coach Campy and the Golden Grizzlies in Ann Arbor. And we look forward to seeing Wake Forest coming up at LCA here in a week now, and almost exactly a week as we approach midnight. So that's it for me, Brian Boesch. Again, we'll keep these going, get some alumni thoughts. Any time Michigan wins, we'll have an assistant coach join us live, thoughts from the locker room, all of that. Let us know. What can we do? How can we add and enhance the coverage of Michigan athletics? Let us know. Thanks as always for watching. And hey, John Jansen and I will be back in about 11 hours or so for our In the Trenches live stream on Tuesday. His grades and a little bit of a special treat, literally, for John and me and for all of you. Can't wait to show it to you coming up on Tuesday morning. So thanks for watching. Thanks to Coach Boynton. Thanks to Tom Wyrot for his help. And thanks to all of you. Michigan a winner in the season opener. Go Blue.